So today on Debt Free Friday, we're going to be talking about 5 budgeting mistakes that you may be making and how to fix them. It's Debt Free Friday time. Oh, I just love Debt Free Friday. I mean, I love Debt Free Friday as much as I love Costco, and that is saying a lot. One of my favorite topics to talk about in personal finance is budgeting. I absolutely love budgeting. I can talk about it all day. That's what I do as a professional in my profession. Part of my responsibilities is budgeting, and I just love it because it's really the foundational base of financial freedom. Like, if you don't have your budget under control, you know, there's no way that you're going to be able to attain financial freedom regardless of what your income is. And although it may be boring to some people, I just feel like it's my duty, because I love it so much and I know so much about it, to share it with you guys. So let's jump right into the first mistake. You don't reconcile. Now, I don't know how many people have always said, you know, I blew my budget out of the water. I just don't know what happened. Well, what probably happened is maybe that you weren't reconciling your account, or if your budget isn't working for you somehow, it's probably because you're not reconciling and then adjusting your budget to reflect what you actually do. You know what I mean? Because if you create a budget and you don't stick to it, or you don't reconcile it to make sure you're sticking to it, it's just a dream. It's not going to be your reality. That's not how you're actually going to be spending your money. So it's important to take the time, regardless of how much you hate it, or if you feel like you don't have time, you have to make the time. It has to be a priority. Just like we make it a priority to brush our teeth every day. Nobody ever says, oh, I just don't have time to brush my teeth. No, you make it a priority to brush your teeth because it's important to you, right? Well, at least I hope so. So that's how you have to really face budgeting and your finances, taking the time to sit down and reconcile, which I talk about in full detail. It only takes me 15 minutes a month to do it, and I do it each month, and I go in full detail in my course, Over Budget to Overjoyed. To learn more about that, you could click the link down below, but it's really, really important that you take the time to do that. Number 2, assuming that you and your partner are on the same financial page. Okay, you cannot make those assumptions because that will ruin your budget. Okay, that's definitely a mistake. You want to make sure that you're communicating effectively with your spouse. And you know, those family budgeting meetings are so important. My husband and I have them quarterly. That's enough for us. But I know for some people, if you're just starting out, or if you're new to budgeting, or if your family's new to budgeting, it may be important for you guys to have weekly family budgeting meetings, or if you don't have time, at least monthly family budgeting meetings. I did a whole video about family budgeting meetings. You can tap this eye right here to watch it. But yeah, it's important to communicate with your spouse so that you guys are on the same page. Most men are visual, so they like to see what's going on, and so it's important for you to show your spouse what's going on, or to show them, him or her, the budget that you created, whether it be through Excel or through a handwritten budget. I'm partial to an Excel budget because to me, it's just more precise. You can click the link down below to download my free zero-based budget template to create your own. But yeah, it's important to communicate with your spouse so that you guys are on the same page. Number 3, not saving anything ever. That's a budgeting mistake, okay? You have to save something. Dave Ramsey always says to save $1,000 first, and then throw all your cash at your debt. To me, you have to do what works best for your family, but you need to save something so that you can break that cycle of being broke. Because you'll stay broke if you keep jumping into debt every single time an emergency arises, or if something that you did not budget for arises. You know, rip that credit card out, you know, and that just ruins your budget. It just ruins your budget. So it's important to have a savings, some sort of savings there, so that if an emergency or something comes up that you did not budget for, that you did not anticipate, you have the cash to pay for it, and you don't just, you know, jump right back into debt when it has it. I did a whole video about breaking the cycle of being broke. You can tap this eye right here to watch it. But yes, definitely save. Saving is so important. Number 4 and 5 kind of go hand in hand for me. Number 4 is not having an annual budget, and number 5 is not analyzing your spending. Now, I did a whole video about why you need to have an annual budget. You can tap this eye right here if you're interested in watching it. But annual budgets help give you a 30,000-foot view of how much you make and how much you're spending. And when you put it in that perspective, when you really see the full amount of money that you spend in expenses, everything from your fixed expenses to your groceries to eating out. Groceries and eating out are the big ones for me that really hit home and really hurt at the end of the year when I see how much I've spent on groceries and eating out, and it really makes me try to work harder the next year to not spend as much. But when you have that 30,000-foot view of all of your expenses, how much you spent over the entire year, it really makes you want to dive deep and analyze it and say, okay, I spent this much on groceries this year. I know I can do better. Let me cut some of this out. Let me cut my monthly budget up a little bit so that I don't spend as much. Or if you see how much you spent on just clothes or your personal expenses, you know, or something like that, you can say, geez, that is just so much money to spend. You know, if you really want to try to save money or try to cut back, it's important that you look at your budgeting categories and how much you're spending in each category each year. Because when you look at it at a year's point of view, you can say, okay, I really don't need to spend so much money on eating out. We need to cut that by 25%. You know, if you're seeing that you're spending at least 20% of your income on food, whether it be groceries or eating out, it's like, hey, I gotta do something about this. Let's see what I can do to make this better. So it's important, and when you do that, and you cut away against your, cut away at your fixed expenses, and to me, eating is a fixed expense. I mean, everybody needs to eat, right? So when you cut away at your fixed expenses, that is the biggest way you're gonna be able to save. You know, besides like stop going to Starbucks, or if you stop, you know, eating breakfast at Chick-fil-A every morning. I'm talking to myself. I do have that problem sometimes. When I feel myself just getting crazy like that, I look at my budget and I say, okay, this has got to stop. I'm spending way too much money on this. So definitely try having an annual budget. Within my template, my zero-based budget template, there is an annual budget built into the formula. So you can, like I said, if you download that, you'll be able to do that. But even if you do your budgeting by writing it down on a piece of paper, keep those papers each month or each week that you do your budgeting and start adding it up and totaling it so you can see just the vast amount of money that you spend and where you can save. So that's it, guys. Leave a comment down below and let me know, what are some budgeting mistakes that you've made and how have you been able to do better, be better at budgeting? I love learning from you guys, and I enjoy interacting with you guys in the comments. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, tap my picture up above, and you can also check out my previous video right over here, and all my social media platforms all listed down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.